The Bills are on the rise again.
It is pandemonium. It is fantastic.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Good Neighbor Sports. As always, I am your host, Austin Hinton, and I forgot to turn my light on again. Not starting over, forget about it. If you're new here, we talk Buffalo Bills football, so if you like that kind of thing, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We do it every week, except last week I was a little lazy. I didn't do a preview video for the Titans game because I was lazy. I just didn't really feel like it. But going forward, I'm going to do a preview video for every week because, man, I think that's why we lost. And this is going to be kind of like a short little recap video of that Bills-Titans game because I'm sure everyone has already, tried to get that out of their minds. And I hate to be the one to bring it back into everyone's minds, but hey, it happened and we got to talk about it. So yeah, if you watched that game, it was honestly a pretty good game. If you're not like a Bills fan or a Titans fan, or even if you're a Titans fan, obviously you love that game. But if you're not a Bills fan and you watch that Monday Night Football game, great game. It was a very good game. But man, that pass off the helmet caught by Julio Jones kind of set the tone for that game. Just didn't go in our favor. And I'm just going to touch on a few game notes that happened throughout the day. And the first being that forward lateral thing. Mike Vrabel, great coach, but he's a dick for that one. Like, oh man. The old one was definitely a forward lateral. You can't convince me otherwise. That one that happened, this past Monday, absolutely a forward lateral. And I think it was just history repeating itself, and they finally got the call right. It was way more obvious this time around. But, man, Mike Vrabel, just for that, go blow. Another person who can go blow is Andre Smith. I mean, there were a ton of stupid penalties that happened throughout the day. A lot of penalties that were kind of annoying, shouldn't have been called, and then a lot of penalties that weren't called that should have been called on the Titans side. I mean, I'm not going to be that Bills fan that's just like, oh, the refs are never in our favor, blah, blah, blah. But Andre Smith, you did not need to hold on that kick return for a touchdown by Isaiah McKenzie. Oh, man, the look on his face when he realized it was coming back was just so heartbreaking. That was the game. The game was over at that point. Well, not necessarily, but it was all but over at that point. And nope, yellow flag on the field, Andre Smith holding. McKenzie was like 10 yards past you. You didn't even need to touch anyone. You could have fell over, gotten a front row seat to the best play of the game, but nope, you had to get it called back. Andre Smith, you're going to have to get back on everyone's good graces after that one. Josh Allen honestly had a very good game. I think he was like 74% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, over 350 yards passing. But our run game wasn't really helping him out at all. Our run game was lackluster to say the least. And honestly, I'm putting a lot of the blame on the O-line. If you look at the numbers from our from Singletary and Moss, they weren't too bad. They were rushing pretty efficiently, but the O-line was not doing us any favors all game, and especially on that 4th and 1 at the very end of the game. Now let's talk about that one real quick. I personally love the call once it was 4th and inches with a first down to be had. It's not like it was 4th and goal. It was 4th and inches. We could have gotten the downs and then had 4 whole tries to get a touchdown. Once I saw that, I was like, we better go for it. If we kick this, then we're losers. Like, you got to go for the win, and I was glad that they went for it. But as much as I like the call, I hate the play. We have a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback who can just leap over everyone. I mean, he's done it twice in his career, just leaping over defenders. So why don't we just have him take the ball and jump over the line instead of trying to go under it or something? I know he lost his footing after he got rocked a little bit, but I think it was Deion Dawkins or somebody on his left just folded. Their defensive linemen just absolutely demolished them. And with all the injuries that the Titans endured all game long, I'm so surprised at how efficient they were all game long on their offensive line and defensive line. Like, Josh Allen was sacked 3 times. Tannehill was not touched once. I think he had like 2 quarterback pressures, which in his previous games this season, he was sacked 20 times. He's hitting the dirt more than anybody, and we couldn't get him once. Like, what's up with that? I don't know what happened. Like, if there was something in the water that week that just made our offensive and defensive linemen just horrible. But I don't know. It was just a bad showing by both lines. And as much as Josh had a pretty good game, the deep ball wasn't there. Just regressing back to his rookie year and then his second year where he just couldn't hit the deep ball. And he's got the biggest arm in the game. He should not be underthrowing Diggs ever. I think he underthrew him twice for what could have been 2 touchdowns probably. I mean, I'm trying to just eradicate this game from my memory as much as I can, but that deep ball, that's something we got to work on, and I hope it's polished up for the next X amount of games stretch, which we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, Josh had a great game, I think. There's a couple clutch moments that he didn't perform on. Obviously, the 4th down at the very end of the game. Tyler Bass-O-Matic with all the missed field goals and extra points that were happening this past week and in like week 5. I'm just so happy to have Tyler Bass on the team, but big blemishes this week, offensive and defensive line. What can I say? We knew Derrick Henry was going to come in and just run it down our throats. That was obviously the game plan for them, and it's always going to be the game plan for the Titans. And we still couldn't stop him. He got like a couple good chunk plays, 3 touchdowns. The dude's a beast. We tried to contain him as best as we could, but by doing that, we allowed A.J. Brown to have a lot of space, and those 10 to 15-yard passes were just killing us in the second half. We just folded. We didn't show up. I mean, it was a great game. We were keeping up pace to pace. We scored a lot of points on offense. We just let a lot of points slip through our fingers on defense. And when the best defense in the league is going up against maybe like the 12th best offense of the league, they're basically just going up against Derrick Henry. You kind of expect them to like show up a little bit, but hey, our defense did well against the Chiefs offense, which is a high-powered offense. I thought that they would do a whole lot better against the Titans offense, but it just shows we got some stuff to work on going into the bye week. And speaking of the bye week, this previous game against the Titans is very, very reminiscent of last year. We all kind of have this feeling already. Last year, before the bye week, we lost a close one, a heartbreaker to the Cardinals. And this is the same exact storyline playing out this season. We lost a close one, very end of the game, heartbreaker, going into the bye week. And I'm glad, honestly. We're going to be stewing on this game for a whole week. The Bills players on their bye week, hopefully they're, on vacation, resting up, doing their thing. But I hope that game is just kind of like stewing in the back of their head and causing them a little issue that they want to just get back to work and grind it out. Because, well, we all know what happened last year after we lost to the Cardinals going into the bye week. We didn't lose a single game in the regular season going forward, and then we only lost in the AFC Championship. So if you look at our schedule this season, it's a whole lot easier. We got like a 6-game stretch where we should just crush every team, and then we play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So what I'm expecting is a 6-game winning streak going into Tampa Bay weekend, and from there we'll see where our team's at. But we're 4-2. It's not a bad start to the season. Like I mentioned in previous videos, I think Tampa Bay was like 5-4 going into their bye week last season when they won the Super Bowl. So these weeks don't really matter as much as the December, January games matter, and hopefully they show up then, and I hope that this game against the Titans sparked another fire under their butts like the loss to the Steelers did going forward. We crushed every team we played afterwards, so I'm expecting the same. We got the Dolphins, we got the Jaguars, we got the Jets. We got the Jets again at some point, Patriots. We should be crushing these teams. So our schedule should honestly hand us that week 1 bye in the playoffs and the number 1 seed in the AFC. But, with losses like this, it makes it a little tougher for us. But, the competition in the AFC is the Ravens, the Chargers, and the Bills, a little bit of the Browns. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but if I am, then maybe they're just pretenders and not contenders. We'll see. But, hey, the Buffalo Bills, not too bad. That was a great game. We still put up 31 points, but the biggest issue is we allowed 34, which is uncharacteristic of this 2021 Buffalo Bills defense. Either way, Bills are good, and I think our ceiling is a lot higher than it was last season, and maybe a lot higher ceiling this season means going to the Super Bowl. So going into the bye week, it's going to be rough not watching any Buffalo Bills football, but that's the way it goes. I kind of wish we had a bye week more of like the middle of the season, but can't always get it that way. Anyways, that's all I really got for you guys today. This has been another episode of Good Neighbors Sports. As always, be good to your neighbors and go Bills.